Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to continue with our chapter number 3, architectural styles. In last session, we have seen about what is architecture, what are the architectural styles, what is architectural style, differences between architectural styles and architecture. Different architectures are there. Okay, we are going to continue with architectural styles. Okay, so we are going to see the types of architectural styles, basic decomposition of techniques like layering and tiering. Okay, so there are different architectural styles like pipes and filters, repository, client server, and client server 2 tiers, 3 tier, n-tier architecture, then MVC architecture, that is model, view, and controller, then service oriented, peer to peer. Okay, there are multiple architectural styles are there. Okay, so today we are going to see about pipes and filters. Okay, so first we will see about layer and tiers. Okay, so the architectural definition of a system is generally achieved by decomposing the architecture into subsystem. So we are going to decompose the architecture into some subsystem by following a layered and a partition or in tiers. Okay, so that architecture is going to decompose into layered architecture or in tiers. Okay, there are a number of tiers are there. Okay, so these are the orthogonal approaches. That is, a layer is a level in an architectural stack. Okay, in charge of providing services like kernels. Kernel is going to provide services to us. Okay, then tier, it is the organization of several peer modules within the same layer. Okay, like user interface, there are several tiers are there. So what is layers? Okay, an architecture which has a hierarchical structure consisting of an ordered set of layers. Okay, so layer is a set of subsystems which are able to provide related services that can be realized by exploiting services from other layers. Okay, so here you can see the examples of layers. Okay, here you can see the layers of virtual machine. There are different layers: layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, each layer consisting of several programs. Okay, this is the layer, or we are going to decompose that system into layer structure. Okay, here you can see the another example of layers in component diagram. Here you can see the connectors for layer systems are often procedure calls. Here you can see the procedure calls, these are the connectors.
दादा येळेवारी काय करू नको मला ओढू नको काय लागत तुला मला सांग ना बाबा आहे तिथे बाबा
Here you can see these are the connectors. Here procedure calls are connectors for the system, and these are the components of the system. Okay, each level implements a different virtual machine with specific input language. Okay, so these are the components of the system, and this is the connectors of the system. Okay, this is the layers architecture for the system. Okay, here you can see the different layers. Then it includes closed versus open layers. Okay, closed architecture and open architecture. Here you can see closed architecture. The ith layer can only have access to the layer at I minus one layer. Okay, and in open architecture, the ith layer can have access to all the underlying layers. That means layers lower than I. Okay, in open architecture, the ith layer can have access to all underlying layers. Okay, this is the closed and open layers. Here you can see the closed architecture. Yeah, these are the several layers. Okay, so here you can see the ith layer can only invoke the services and the operations which are provided by the layer I minus one. Okay, this is the ith layer and I minus one layer. You can see the different layers for the system. Okay, here you can see the closed layers. This is the OSI model. Okay, level of abstraction. Here you can see the level of abstractions. These are the OSI layers. Okay, here ISO or OSI reference model, it defines 7 network layers. These are the 7 layers. Okay, characterized by an increasing level of abstractions. These are included in packages. Okay, so here you can see the Internet Protocol IP defines a virtual machine at the network level, able to identify net host and transmit single packets from host to host. Okay, here you can see at network level we are going to use IP protocols, okay, to define a virtual machine that can transmit a single packets from host to host. Through this network, we are going to transform the packets from one host to another host. Okay, so this is the closed layers. That means this is the abstraction of your what we can say transmissions. Oh, okay, this is the abstraction. That's why it's included. That is closed layers. Okay, it these are the enclosing the packages. Okay, or abstraction. So next one is tiers. Okay, so this is the another approach for managing complexity. Consists of partitioning a system into subsystems. Okay, that means tiers. Okay, which are responsible for class of services. So we are going to divide the system into subsystems by tiers. Okay, number of tiers are there. Here you can see the computing evaluation of the system. Here monolithic means one tier, only one tier is there. Then client server is having client and server. It includes 3 tier or n tier architecture. Okay, so typically the tier architecture is consisting of 3 layers. Okay, that presentation, logical, and data tier. Okay, here you can see the presentation tier. What it consists, it the topmost level of the application is the user interface. Okay, that GUI is included in presentation tier. Okay, user at the user end. Okay, the main function of the interface is to translate tasks and results to something the user can understand. Okay, so at presentation tier, that user interface is there. Okay, user is going to operate on this layer or on this tier. Then next one is logical tier or logical layer. Okay, this layer coordinates the application, processes commands, makes logical decision and evaluations, and performs calculations. Okay, it also moves and processes data between the two supporting layers. Okay, this is the logical layer. All the insides operations or the technical things is hidden in this layer. Okay, so this is the mediator between that data and the user. Okay, or at the presentation layer. Okay, then third one is data tier. Okay, it consists of the database. Information is stored and retrieve the information. Okay, this is the data tier. These are the 3 layers of architecture. Okay, or 3 tiers. Then there are different architectural styles. Okay, that are defined in software engineering. Okay, they can be used as a basis for configuring software architectures like pipes and filters, repositories, client and servers, MVC, service oriented, peer to peer. Okay, so in yesterday's session we have seen that architectural variants. Okay, so here you can see the pipes and filters. These are the filters and these are the pipes. Okay, this is the layer abstract machine that architecture, or we can say the elements are organized into layer structure, or this is the software bus. Then share repository, that all the elements are able to share the data in this repository. Okay, then first we will see pipes and filters. Okay, today's point is pipes and filter style. Okay, so here you can see what is filter and what is pipe. Here filter it is process the stream of input data to some output data. Okay, filter is going to process the stream of input data and to some output data. Okay, then pipe is, it is a channel that allows the flow of data. Here you can see this is the filter. Yeah, this is the filter and this is the pipe. Okay, so what that filter contains, read the input file, and another filter is process that file. Okay, this is the pipe. This architectural style focuses on the dynamic, that is interaction, rather than structural. Okay, the next one is You can see the batch sequential data flow. Here you can see one file is there, the transaction files include some data, okay? So it validates that data. Here you can see the rejected transaction, that is -123 unit, okay? This transaction is rejected, and after that the validated transaction is going to be passed, and then it will be sorted, okay? Here you can see the sorted transactions, okay? 111, 222, 333, okay? After that, that sorted transaction is going to be updated, or one file is saved into the master file, or that master file is going to be updated, and it generates the reports and sends the report. This is the sequential data flow, okay? Batch wise. Batch wise, the information is transmitted to one another, okay? Then in Unix shell, you already seen that we can execute the commands using pipe symbol, okay? That Unix shell commands line processing of the pipe symbol. Here you can see the pipe symbol, okay? What that pipe symbol tells us, the output from the command to the left of the symbol, that pipe symbol, okay, is to be sent as the input to the command to the right of the pipe. Here you can see first command, then pipe, then second command, pipe, and third command, okay? So this, the output of this command is given as an input to this next command, okay? Output of the first command is given as an input to the next command, okay? What we can say, this is the concatenations, okay? Output of first is given as a input to second, okay? So this is the pipes in Unix shell, okay? Here you can see this is the symbol of pipe. Okay, here you can see the example of pipe and filter, okay? So here you can see the high level design solution is decomposed into two parts, that is pipes and filters, okay? So filter is a service that transforms a stream of input data into a stream of output data. Filter is going to be transmit that stream of input data into stream of output data, okay? Then what is pipe? It is a mechanism through which the data flows from one filter to another filter. Through pipe, data flows from one filter to another filter. Here you can see input time cards. This is the filter, this is the pipe. The output of this filter is given as an input to the next filter, okay, using that pipe, okay? So data flows from that pipe. So what next filter continues, prepare for check processing. After that, it processes the checks, okay? So this is the example of pipes and filters. Here you can see pipes and filters, okay? Yeah, these are the two pipe means communicating channel between two filters, okay? Filter are computing component, okay? So here you can see the number of cases. Here you can see filter 1, okay? Here filter 1 and filter 2. Filter 1 may only send data to filter 2, okay? Filter 1 may send data to filter 2, or filter 2 may only receive the data from filter 1, okay? These are the cases in this pipes and filters, okay? Then filter 1 may not receive the data, okay? It's one way. Filter 1 may not receive the data from filter 2, or filter 2 may not send the data to filter 1, okay? Here you can see the pipe is the transport mechanism between these two filters, okay? Here you can see the structure: filter, input, and gives output, okay? Output and input, okay? So this is the pipe having read and write methods, okay? This is the diagrammatic form, pipes and filters. Here you can see the class diagrams for pipe and filter class diagram. Here you can see the pipe class, okay? Then filter. Pipe consists of, because a pipe, by using pipe we are going to transmit that data between filters and, okay, between two filters. So it consists of read and write method, okay? So what it reads, data source, okay? Then filter, data sync, okay? We are going to write the data, or we are going to pass the data through pipe, okay, to the next filters. These are the diagrammatic representation of pipes and filters. So similarly we can draw the sequence diagrams. So there are three ways of data flow types, okay? First one is push only, then pull only, and pull push, that is write only, read only. You are already aware about what are these permissions: write only, read and write, okay? So here push only means a data source may pushes data in downstream. That means the filter may push data in a downstream, that is write only. Filter may push data to downstream, then pull only means read only. That is a data sink may pull data from a upstream. Okay, then the filter may pull data from an upstream, that means filter may read the data from another filter. Okay, then read or write operations. Okay, it may be read or it may be write to up or downstream. Okay, here you can see data filter may pull data from an pull means it will read data from upstream and push the data into downstream. Okay, these are the three ways to make the data flow. Okay, so here you can see that architectural styles. Okay, yeah, pipes and filters. Here you can see that filter is also called as the components, and that pipe is called as a, here you can see that filter is called as components and pipes is connectors in architectural styles. Okay, in architecture. Okay, so what filters, it only apply local transformation to their input streams and often to their computing incrementally so that output begins before all input is consumed. So output of this is given as an input to the next filter. Okay, so these are the pipes through which the communication is going to be happen. Okay, these are the connectors and these are the filters are components and pipes are connectors. Okay, in pipes and filter architectural styles, here you can see. So what are the invariants here? Filters do not share state with other filters. Okay, it do not share their states with other filters. Then filters do not know the identity of their upstream and downstream. They don't know about their identity of upstream and downstream filters. Okay, so pipes and filter specializations, pipelines. Okay, restrict topologies to linear sequence of filter. Then batch sequential. We have seen the how batch sequential or the data is passes from one to another in batch sequential. Then examples, we have seen the examples also, that is shell script example. We are executing commands on the shell, that output of the first file is given as an input to the next file. Okay, and then output of the second given to the third as an input. Okay, then another example is traditional compilers. At compilation phase are pipeline. Okay, through the phases are not always incremental. The phases is in the pipeline includes here you can see the first we are going to analyze, then parsing, then semantic analysis, then code generation. So this is the compilers, traditional compilers where pipeline filters are used. Okay, in which way? That lexical analysis, parsing, semantic analysis, and code generations. Then what are the advantages of pipes and filters? Okay, so it is easy to understand. The overall input and output behavior of the system is simple. Okay, so it is easy to understand that how data is flow from one filter to another filter. Then they support reuse. Okay, how? Since any two filters can be hooked together, provided they agree on the data that is being transmitted between them. If two filters are agree on transmission, that means where we can reuse those filters. Okay, so then systems can be easily maintained and enhanced. Okay, system can be easily maintained and enhanced since new filters can be added to existing system and old filters can be replaced by improved ones. So if we are going to improve any filter or is there any changes in the new filter, then the old filters may be replaced by new one. Okay, so it is easy to maintain and enhance those filters. Okay, so they permit certain kinds of specialized analysis like throughputs and deadlock analysis in pipes and filters. Then it supports the concurrent executions. These are the advantages of pipes and filters. And what are the disadvantages of pipes and filters? Okay, so it is not good choice for interactive system because of their transformational characters. Okay, excessive parsing and unparsing leads to loss of performance and increased complexity in writing the filters themselves. Excessive parsing and unparsing. Okay. So next style is object oriented data abstraction. Okay, object oriented and data abstraction. So it is suitable for applications in which a central issue is identifying and protecting related bodies of informational or data. Okay. Here you can see the object oriented and data abstraction for or object oriented architecture. Okay. So your data representation and their associated operations are encapsulated in abstract data type. Your data is abstracted. Okay. So what are the components here? Objects are the components. Okay. And the connectors are a function or a methods or procedure invocations. Okay. Here you can see the objects. Data is abstracted in the form of objects. Okay. And these are the method invocation that object are going to communicate with each other by function or procedure invocations or method invocations. Okay, this is the object oriented approach. Okay, data is abstracted here in the form of object. So what are the object invariants here? Objects are responsible for preserving the integrity of the data representation. Then the data representation is hidden from the other object. Okay, so data is hidden from other objects. Okay, so that objects are the abstraction of data. Okay, then what are the advantages of this style? Okay, object oriented advantages, because an object hides its data representation from its client. Okay, in this system or this in this architecture, that object consists of or data representation or data is hidden. Okay, from client. Okay, so it is possible to change the implementation without affecting those clients. Means instead of informing, that means if the data is hidden, so we can easily make the changes between that data, so that that changes of the data is not going to be affect on the clients. Okay, so this is the advantage of object oriented architectural styles. Then it can design system as collections of autonomous interacting agents. We can design the system like so that autonomous interacting agents, so number of agents, we can easily add the number of agents here. Okay, then what are the disadvantages of this architecture? Here you can see the identity. Okay, in order for one object to interact with another object, the first object must know the identity of second object. Without knowing the identity of the second objects, that objects are not going to communicate with each other. Okay, we have seen that in pipes and filters, that identity is hidden from filters. Okay, so that's why it contrasts with pipes and filter style. Okay, so yeah, the disadvantage of pipes and filter is overcoming this approach. Okay, that means if that what happens if that object is not aware with the identity of another object, that then their communication is not going to be happen. Okay, when the identity of an object changes, it is necessary to modify all objects that invoke it. Okay, if that another object is depend on the first one, then if we change the one object, then all the other objects are going to be affected. Okay, so object causes side effect problems like side effect problems like A and B both uses objects C. Okay, then B effects on C look like unexpected side effects to A. If that means interdependency, if these three objects are independent, that means if changes happen in A, B or C, then all remaining others will be affected. Okay, so this is all about your object oriented and data abstraction style. Okay, so today we have seen two architectural styles, pipes and filter, and object oriented organization. Okay, data abstraction and object oriented organizations. Okay, so that's it for today's session. Thank you.